Department of Corrections. So one day I'm thinking about this, and I thought, I'm going to sue that son of a gun on behalf of the taxpayers. Because guess who's going to have to pay for me keeping these people in the county jail? You were. And it was about 10 days ago, I guess. I got a check for $351,000.
That's good.
And I paid for the attorney out of my own pocket. Nobody, the county didn't pay for it, the taxpayers didn't pay for it. And if you want to come to my office, I got all the canceled checks in my desk. And the reason why I did that is because I didn't want any politics getting involved in this. This is between me and him. And we won. So as a result of that, you know, I've got 14 people retiring this year. So it used to be, if somebody retired, you know, they'd have time on the books. So let's say there's $100,000 in that line item, and they used up $50,000. Well, I only had $50,000 left, and that might take me till November to be able to hire somebody. So now we're going to use that money that I won from our governor to pay people off and hire law enforcement people immediately. So if somebody retires today, I'm hiring somebody tomorrow, as long as I have an applicant. So make sure you send me some good applicants. But those are some of the things we've done. But you guys just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And if you need us, all you got to do is call.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Sheriff Watson? Okay.
I can tell you some stories, and if my back felt better, I could probably dance for you.
Our next speaker is Mark Bagby. He's our Stuckey Township Supervisor, and he was previously a township's trustee. He operates an emergency management company, assisting schools and colleges in emergency planning, and Mark has also served 20 years in Stuckey Township as a volunteer fireman.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Thanks to the board for inviting me to talk to you for a few minutes tonight. You know, as the sheriff said, your organization is just awesome. I wish that every neighborhood had an association like you all. I hope you all understand the level of commitment that these ladies and gentlemen have to this neighborhood to provide and make it better for you. It makes my job easier as township supervisor. It helps law enforcement with their job a lot easier as well because of what you all do to make Stuckey a great place to live, and for you those that live in the city on the Oval side, the same thing. So what is a supervisor? I'm the equivalent of what a mayor is for a municipality. I'm the chief elected official, and I oversee the things under the township taxing body, which are the administration of the township, our sewer plant, general assistance, and our parks. I've got a counterpart, our highway commissioner, Brian Reed, that takes care of the roads, the plowing, stormwater, and mowing. We each have our own different taxing structure, and I can't tell him what to do, he can't tell me what to do, but we're both great guys who work together. So typically anything we ask of each other, we're rolling up our sleeves and trying to help each other out, because that's what we should be doing. So even though we're two different entities, we work together. But a lot of people think like, oh, I can just call the supervisor and have him fix my road. No, that's a different department, a different budget and everything like that. So we're both very, very available. Typically we're calling back any calls within the same day or at the latest the next day. We give our cell phone numbers out, we give our email addresses out. Brian's on vacation this week, I think he gets back tonight or tomorrow, and he's been constantly emailing me. I'm like, you're on vacation, we'll take care of it. So that's just how we are. We've got just under 10,000 residents We cover about 27 square miles and 60 road miles. So we go almost all the way to Millstadt, down almost to Dupo and Coquia Heights, and the Frank Scott Parkway and 161. So pretty big area to take care of. We've got our offices there at 313 Island Road, as well as our highway department, and we operate 2 parks. One right down the road here at 100 Arlington Drive by Dorchester, and a newly acquired park right next to the township offices, the former West End Quarry League, that are athletic fields. We've got 3 committees, and some of those members are here, but we've got a Parks and Rec Committee, a Law Enforcement Committee, and a Zoning and Lighting Committee. And so those 3 committees are made up of citizens with a few board members, and they help run those different functions of the township for us, because I'm only one person. I work a 40-hour job, I travel a lot for work, so they help deal with those types of issues and get other citizens involved. We've been doing a lot. So I took office as well as our board May 17th of last year. So not quite 12 months, but in that time, we've been doing a lot to improve our parks, our township, our security and safety measures. So one thing we did is we took a deep dive and review our finances, getting our budget under control, doing a first ever sewer budget for our sewer department. Never been done before since like 1960 when our sewer plant first opened. We did a major volunteer cleanup day at our park earlier this year, hauled 8 dump trucks full of brush and overgrowth away, cleaned up some fence lines, built the fence, just cleaned up trash and stuff to make the park look a lot nicer, and just little improvements. And it's amazing, I think we've had about a 25% increase in people utilizing our park since this last May. We've been doing things like just replacing stuff that's just old and worn out and broken. So trash cans at the park, 15 years old, broken, full of water, just nasty. We're working on replacing our playground resurfacing on our 2 playgrounds, and by the end of May, the swing set as well. And one resident called me today, said, I might bring my blanket up there, that's softer than my bed. But it just seems like that. The stuff that was there, it was old, wore out, it was a hazard. We were just ripe for a lawsuit from somebody getting hurt. And so we went together, we got a grant, $25,000 from the county to help curb some of that cost. And then we got another $16,000 grant for another park project that I'll talk about in a minute. We had some dog waste stations because people were taking their dog out there and not cleaning up after themselves. We've seen a big improvement from just adding those. And then just this past weekend, we had an Eagle Scout project add some dog enrichment activities in the dog park, as well as plant some native grasses to make it look nicer as well. And then earlier this year, we added a flagpole that was at the former Harmony school building. It was just going to go to waste, and we were asked if we wanted it, and we had a crew that planted it and got it lit up and stuff, so it just makes the park look a lot nicer. Let's see here. This year we remodeled our township offices and the town hall. The roof had been leaking, causing damage, so at the same time, it's like we need a little paint, a little stuff to spruce it up, make it more ADA accessible, so we did that. We had to replace our sewer plant roof and upgraded the computer system for that. It was about a 10-year-old program, and if that went down, we're all going to have a bit of a problem, and it's going to be a smelly mess. So it's just little things like that have been neglected over the years that it was really easy when we got in there to see what are the problems, what do we need to invest in to continue to keep the township running and curb costs where we could and efficiencies. We also revised the sewer ordinance. So those of you that are in the township, you received a letter. We've got a lot of people that haven't been paying their bills for whatever reasons. And so we're going after that. The previous administration would just keep raising rates to combat that. And it's like, no, we need to be going after the people that aren't paying and figure out why they're not paying instead of just raising rates for those that are paying on time. We hired a couple new staff members that are actually knowledgeable in what they need to do, very courteous to help the public. One, we kind of stole her from Wood River Township, and after the first day of training, she's like, all right, I'm good. I can do this. Like I came back the next day, I'm like, okay, we need to sit on this. I already figured that out. I already did this, and I was like, what a breath of fresh air. So she's hit the ground running. It's amazing. We've been including the public more in discussions in public meetings, so those that have been to some of our town hall meetings, it used to be, you can ask questions. We welcome public participation. I mean, at times we have to curb talk, but I mean, your board has been active sometimes until 10 o'clock at night. And so like, there's no reason you need a 3-hour meeting. We were doing stuff to benefit the members of the township. The board has rolled up their sleeves to make this a better place. It hasn't rolled out yet. Probably in June, we actually have a program kind of like you have your Good Neighbor program here. We want to exemplify those that are doing good in the township, improving properties, things like that. We need to celebrate those successes to make Stuckey better. It raises their property values. It helps reduce crime, things of that nature. So we need to celebrate those things. I mentioned that other grant, that $16,000 grant. We're working on a master parks plan. Hopefully Monday night it'll get awarded to a vendor, and they'll start in May, and it'll go through November. And what it'll do, it'll look at an inventory of our parks and area of recreation, Belleville and nearby the schools, and also include input from our residents. What do you want to see in your parks? We've heard things like frisbee golf and pickleball, a walking trail at the new park, things like that. So this will include public meetings as well as some online surveys. So however you want to answer that and be involved, we welcome that input. From that, they'll put a plan together, and we can actually then apply for state and federal grants. So again, instead of our tax dollars being used from the township or us having to raise taxes, we're going after those grants. And we've already gotten $41,000 just in the past 10 months that would have come out of our pockets if we had filled out a piece of paper and submitted it. With that, we're developing plans for future amenities at the parks. People say, it'd be nice to have a bigger pavilion up here at Stuckey Park that I could rent for a birthday party or some sort of family event. So things like that. Our town hall, since we remodeled it, there was just an unused room that we turned into kind of a little kitchenette. So now people can rent the hall if they want. So as an organization, you guys can actually use it for free for like an Always Watch meeting if you want. But if you wanted to rent it for a baby shower or a family gathering or something, for residents, $25 for 4 hours. For non-residents, $50 for 4 hours to cover the cost of electricity and cleaning and things like that. Before, that hall was used only about an hour a month. It belongs to the township. Why not utilize it? So we spruced it up to make it actually usable. We've had some groups doing that. The same thing with us taking over the old West End Quarry Park. We've already got 2 teams that are renting the fields out there. Nobody's played out there in almost 2 years because of COVID. So we're working on plan 2 to kind of redevelop that, spruce it up a little bit so it's more user-friendly. Again, add maybe a walking trail, a small playground, because the folks there on the west end of Stuckey, especially the kids, they can't cross 13 and 15 safely. And so they have nothing over there. So by providing a couple things out there, hopefully that'll give them something to do, keep them out of trouble, keep them active. And then we've had a bunch of groups like schools, other ball clubs and stuff asking, can I rent the space for a tournament? Can one entity wants to give us money to help redo the fields so they have actually a home field, because where they're located they don't have things of that nature. So kind of a public-public partnership to kind of help each other out. So a lot of great things. Our clerk, Fraser Garner, lives here in the neighborhood, and just the other day, I hadn't really thought about it, but he's like, we were just sitting there going over bills and stuff, and he's like, just think about what we have accomplished in the last 11 months. We've accomplished more in the past 11 months than the last 16 years that have been done. And the sky's the limit, and again, it's because of folks like you rolling up your sleeves to help, putting your confidence in us. Partnerships with the sheriff department. We sat down with the sheriff and his team earlier this year to kind of look at our contracts, because we do provide, through our taxes, we pay for extra patrols 40 hours a week. And that contract says kind of this, and through a partnership with the sheriff, he said, hey, if we need to go outside those hours, we'll adjust it. And we've done that multiple times. We've had some speeding issues like on Werner and stuff. Yeah, we got to report of the hours. So, when we get the calls from citizens, John is a big conduit into us as well. we then talk with Lieutenant Foltz and his team and say, okay, we've got a problem here. Can you do some like hotspot patrolling? We had some problems at the park. They've, tried to get a patrolman out there, a deputy out there, like between 3 and 5 when the kids get out of school, just to kind of be there and say, hey, settle down, respect the park, respect the people in the park. And it hasn't cost you extra above that time. We've just adjusted hours here and there, and I think we're probably getting more than we should out of that as well. So thank you to the sheriff and others for doing that. And again, it's a team effort to make this place great, but we need your input. We need you all to report things. Al Scharf is one of our board members. He heads up our zoning and lighting committee, and I bet he gets about 3 calls a day on zoning complaints of, hey, I've called the county, they won't take care of the high grass, or they won't tow this car and stuff. And Al goes out there first and tries to reach the property owner or the renter or whatever the case may be. And probably 50% of the time, just from that conversation, the problem's fixed without even getting the code enforcement or the sheriff's department involved. But where we've needed to, we've been pushing hard on our county officials to step up and enforce the law, because the law's out there. We can't enforce it, they can, but we're being that conduit to kind of help you out as well. So with that, any questions that anybody has?
Yeah, I'm Joe Bauer. On the lighter note, I played when they first opened that Corvette Park. I played. It's been a while.
Yeah.
The second one, I don't come to many meetings, but when I come, I bring up the same thing. On Country Club Acres between Yarker and Winchester. That's a speedway. I've asked, not the sheriff himself, but I've asked the sheriff's department to patrol it, they don't. I've talked to John many times about it. I think we need at least one more stop sign in there. And then we need somebody to enforce it, because they don't stop at the one that's at the end of Country Club Acres. They just fly right through there. And I cut my grass on that side, so I made my own sign and put up there every time. I don't look goofy.
Yeah.
But, I wear earmuffs when I'm riding, the tractor's loud. And, if I come out on the street just a little bit by mistake, I might not be here anymore. I usually park my car on the street, put a cone behind it, to slow people down. This is just ridiculous. This has been going on. This is community started.
Yeah. So through the
We
committee,
talk speed bumps, and people do put them in.
yeah, we can't do speed bumps, unfortunately.
Other places do it.
So we can't because of the liability, and 2, with the snow plows, it damages the snow plow. But with the stop signs, so the committee can reach out, so we have to go to the county to ask for stop signs. They've got to approve that, and then we can put them in if we get
We don't
approval.
have a slow sign,
Yeah.
or a speed limit sign.
Yeah, we've talked about all that, Joe. I know you and I have talked about it many times, and Officer Foltz has put out that, the sign out there from speed traffic. Trailer, I guess they call it. And that does work while it's there.
As soon as that thing
It's
goes,
gone, there they go again, And he lives right next to the house that, right down the street from him, the stop sign gets run the most.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that, we all know about it, we're doing what we can. I've seen police cars at that intersection.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems is probably the people who live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
No, I
I
yes, sir.
think what happened there was they repaved the street, which is a wonderful thing for us. But that's what happens, it speeds up. But my question was, the hall that you can rent,
Yeah.
is that part of your office there? Is that where they're talking about?
Yes, it's the same. So we've got the township office, and right next to it is the township hall.
How many does that accommodate?
So the fire chief did a study. I think it was like 91 to 93 people is the maximum. Now, of course, that'd be the maximum. I mean, comfortably, 50 to 60. With some tables and chairs.
$30? That's pretty good.
Well, 25 for a resident. If you live in the township, it's only 25.
If I clean it up myself, then what?
Then you get $100 back.
Wheeling, dealing.
Yeah. But yeah, 25 for residents, 50 for non-residents. So.
So is that ballpark open to anybody who wants to use it, or do we have to get permission, or is that already?
So the ballpark, and hopefully Monday night, we will have, hopefully, if the board approves, a new name for it. So we can put up a sign so people know, kind of what it is and stuff, but, so the fields are for rent.
Okay.
If you just wanna go, like, if, you know, mom or dad wants to just go play catch with the kid or something, you know, that's fine, it's a park and stuff, but if you actually want to, like practice or have a game, then there's a rental fee, $15 an hour. And if you want it lined and striped and stuff, then we've got rates for that. I just hired last Friday a guy that he's been taking practice for 20 years, he's retired. Some of those fields haven't been touched in 2 years, so he started last night, dragging and getting them up to speed, and he already gave me a list. He's like, I need a special kind of dirt, I need this, I need that, so, you know, we're building that into the budget to start bringing all that back to life. Like I said, we've got 2 teams already that have rented it. I've had multiple calls for tournaments this summer possibly. And you know, one guy came out, he's like, oh, these look a little rough. I'm like, I'll have it in shape by June if you want to sign the paper, because we hired a guy. So it takes time. And I mean, redevelopment is probably gonna be 4 or 5 years to build that master plan and do like a field at a time as we can, you know, raise money, grants and stuff for that, and with some of these other partnerships, build that in. Yes, ma'am.
How, for those of us that have a hard time breathing, how do we get burning stopped in Stuckey? It just,
Yes.
sometimes you can't even breathe going through the neighborhood.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's a county issue, and the county ordinance is from dusk, or from dawn till dusk, and it's gotta be yard waste that was produced on that site. And also people too, if you see it, don't burn on the street. We could actually come back and fine you that damages the street. That little fire can cost $5,000 easy damage to the street.
Even on Warner Road,
Yeah,
because that goes on all the time.
yeah, but yeah, it's unfortunate.
Just because it's county, nothing can be changed?
They would have to go to the county board for them to change the ordinance.
Mark,
And then you get into
they
enforcement.
State law too.
What's that?
I think all they did was adopt the state law, so they can't even change that.
Yeah, I mean, even like the city has it, you know, in their rules, you know, and you can't burn if you're within like 1,000 feet of the city. Well, they can't come into the township and enforce that. So it's kind of one of those kind of odd things. Like, yeah, it looks good on paper, but where's the enforcement? That's the same thing with some of the, you know, grasses and derelict vehicles and stuff like that. There's already county law, but it's getting them to enforce it. And so that's why, again, our committee is hitting them hard and reaching out to the people to try to get things. And I mean, just that first month, I think we ticketed and towed over 15, 20 cars, just, you know, in that short amount of time. And it's making a difference, but we're not there yet. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just being neighborly. You know, I mean, my daughter has asthma, and my neighbor used to burn. I said, you know, hey, it really affects my daughter and stuff. Like, is there something we can do? And he's like, I pay for this. I'll just have them hauled off. Like, well, if you were paying for it anyway, now you're burning. Like, you're just wasting money. So, you know, and I mean, I go over there every once in a while, help him rake up his leaves and stuff. You know, so it's kind of a compromise and stuff. But some people, they're just gonna burn it because they can.
Aren't they supposed to be watching it?
And yeah, well, yeah, they've got to be watching it. They should be having a hose or something out. They can't burn, you know, 2x4s and carpet. I had a couple people call last week, and the Sunday night I go out and I see the big ball in the sky, and this guy's burning 2x4s, carpet and stuff. I called the sheriff department. I called the fire department. They went and put it out. They code enforcement there was the next day to issue him a fine. You know, so, but it takes people to call in. Like all these people, they're frustrated with it. They called me, finally. I'm like, here's the number for zoning. Here, you know, call 911. If it's a problem, call. Don't sit there and wait and hope that somebody else is gonna call. Because they're just gonna keep doing it. And the guy's like, he just moved in, he's like, well, I didn't know. Well, now you know, and you got a nice $500 fine. And he had a dumpster right there too. It's like, but he didn't want to pay to, you know, fill his dumpster.
Maybe you could tell us, or might be a better question for the sheriff, How would we help pursue a crime-free ordinance on the Stuckey or county side of my neighborhood?
Yeah, so I can tell you what, from us looking at it, it would have to happen at the county side, and they have said absolutely not.
No.
So again, we're the lowest level of government, so we can do small, minor kind of ordinance stuff, but those major things have to be done at the county or the state level. So it would take something at the county level to do that. And, you know, if they did that at the county level, there'd be a whole lot of communities that just wouldn't exist because.
Yeah.
Has it been pursued at all in St. Clair County?
You know, I think they've looked at it a few times, but that's what you gotta do. You gotta push these, county board members and that. You know, and I'm gonna tell you, that's why, you know, as a group here, you need to, you know, you need to list your priorities and come up with some things that everybody goes after their county board members about and their state reps. You know, I can't change everything. And I think sometimes they get tired of listening to me, but I don't really give a damn. You know, but I'm gonna tell you, that's what you gotta do. It's gotta come from you guys. You gotta speak up. You know, I've been complaining about needing more deputies and more corrections officers for the last 10 years. You know where it's got me? Nowhere. So, I mean, it's, you guys gotta do it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just, you know, have your eyes open and make the calls. You know, again, every call we get, we keep, you know, we call the appropriate department. We encourage you to call it as well. You know, talked to a guy today on North Belt. My neighbor's burying shingles in his yard and doesn't have trash services piling up. I gave him the number. I said, you call, and I'm going to call as well. And so I called zoning, and then zoning said, well, this one you got to call the health department. And they kept transferring, so I finally got somebody and reported that as well. And then I sent it to Al Sharp, so they're going to get it 3 times. And Al even goes one step further. He'll, you know, whoever the county board member is, if it's Steve Gomerick, Scott Tiernan, Ken Uterly, he calls them up too, says, hey, we got this problem that, you know, the county's not doing something. You're on the county board. You need to step up. You know, so they're starting to do some action and stuff. And so we're getting a lot of movement that we didn't have before. So, you know, I'm not afraid to stand up and make a fuss. I'm respectful about it, and I'll keep making it until we get some change. Yes, ma'am.
I use the park over here by Dorchester. Oh, it's wonderful improvements you're making. But when I see things happen that shouldn't be, and some young kids have been doing things, who do I call?
Yeah. So if you feel it's a threat or it's a crime, they're destructive, call 911 first to get the sheriff department out there. You can always then call the township office at 538 7700 and report it as well. One thing that we did last August is we added some security cameras at the park as well as the township offices. And already twice those cameras at the park have paid off to help identify those who are committing crimes, and we're going after them. You know, just yesterday, the sheriff department responded. There were about 15 kids. A couple of them were causing problems with one lady, and she was crying. Like, that's how bad it was. And the sheriff department responded out there to deal with it. So, you know, we banned a couple people from the park. And I mean, our park steward out there, Todd Horn, he lives here in the neighborhood on Sunset. He spends more hours, I think, at that park than at home. And that's his baby. He's like, when there's something wrong, he's upset. He's out there, you know, cutting the grass, just making it look as immaculate as possible. And, you know, just because he cares about his community. And he hates that I have to pay him. I'm like, God, I need a timesheet. Oh, no, I'm just going to donate my time. I'm like, no, you were working, I gotta pay you. I was like, and, you know, he takes that check half the time and puts it back to like decorations and stuff for the park and stuff. So, you know, he loves this neighborhood, he loves Ogles, he loves that park. And again, he sees the value that people are using it. He put up that, if you've been to the dog park, there's a little board. He'll take pictures, or you can submit a picture of your dog, and he puts it up there. He did that all on his own. He wouldn't give me a receipt to to pay them back and stuff. And just little things like that, people appreciate and see the value, so.
Todd is actually the most often nominated great neighbor in Oglesby.
Yeah.
Deservedly.
He can get the sign every month.
A permanent sign.
Is the $25 for people that live in the Belleville part of Ogles to?
No, it's for those that live in Stuckey Township. So if you're a Stuckey resident, it's $25. If you're not a Stuckey resident, then it's $50.
I live just over the line.
Yeah, if you live on the Belleville side, then it'd be $50.
I had a neighbor who was next to me, and, she doesn't maintain her yard, and I do. And right now, she's got a whole field of dandelions that are about this high, and all that fuzzy stuff on them. Is there anything I can do about that?
So if it's over 16 inches, you can call the county zoning.
16 inches?
Yeah, 16 inches. And then they will issue a ticket, a citation, and if it's not taken care of, then they come back and fine, or they can cut it and put a lien on the property for the cost
And
of,
what department is that?
zoning, county zoning department.
Okay, but this is in the city.
Oh, if it's in the city, then you would have to call the city.
Yeah, you can call Belleville, or you can use the online report of concern,
Do you have one of these?
belleville.net.
I think one out.
Look,
Yeah,
the
the call
numbers
numbers are on there.
Yeah.
That's true.
Any other questions from
Our
our?
call numbers on there as well, yeah.
Okay, oh, one more back there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so street lighting, so there's multiple ways. So one, you can call an office, the 538-7700 number, and report it. We just need the nearest address to where it's out. And we can call Ameren, or you can call Ameren yourself, either way. Just report the street light. There's actually a number in their menu, if you call the main Ameren electric number, to report a street light outage. Okay. Okay, so if you want one added, we have a form, that if you got an email address, I can get it from you, I can email it to you, or you can stop by the office. And then we have a committee, Barbara is actually on it, that looks at those, so they'll actually come out, look at it at day and night to see if it's needed or not. And then they make that recommendation to the board to approve it or not. And then Ameren has to then, of course, come out and look to make sure it's possible as well. But yeah, we've added, I think, 6, this past 11 months, we added, and they're all very dark areas, never had a street light in the area, and, you know, that, the cost, it comes back to you through, taxes, but we've got a fund that pays for those street lighting, costs and, repairs. So we don't do individual lights, so if you want one like in your backyard, a security light, or just on your, driveway, that's at cost to you, but if it's actually in the street, in the neighborhood, we evaluate that. There's a couple, I think we turned down 2 because there was already like 3 or 4 on that street. You know, some people wanted one at like every house, and, you know, unfortunately we can't afford that. But we're trying to, get light to the major areas and stuff. That also helps the sheriff department. So that's something too. If you see a street light out, please call it in. A street light out does no good. You know, it takes 5 to 7 days for Ameren to come out and replace it. Sometimes it's within, a day or 2. And like I said, we'll make that call, or if you want to call in as well.
All those numbers, for call are on the mailer. You probably got in the mail today, and you can also pick one up here at the table.
This side is the who to call. It's got all our elected officials, Ameren, crime, street issues, power, permits, codes, ordinances. It's all inside the flyer.
Yeah, hi, my name is Misty Clemens, and I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. On February 23rd, I sent a letter, or an instant message to the committee wanting to add some numbers to that list, which were not added, such as the National Domestic Violence Hotline.
Those were added to the packet we mail our new
Yeah, they were added.
residents. They were added to
Okay,
it
they're not
today.
added to this one?
No, unfortunately, we don't have any more room on this one, but we did add them to our the Welcome to Ogles mailer.
Yeah, whenever anybody gets a welcome package,
Yeah.
all those
there
numbers
is a
you
good one.
put, they're all on there.
Okay.
Yeah, Jamie at All in Shipping does our mailer for us.
Okay.
We only pay to print our newsletter. We can approach that again because this does look like maybe a smaller font, but we can see how many of those numbers may fit. But they
Okay.
are going to the new residents in Oakland. That
Well,
is-
thank Mark for all that information. A lot of good information. They've done a lot for this neighborhood. So now we are gonna have a raffle drawing. Did everybody get a raffle ticket when they came in? No? Okay,
Amber, do you want?
let's get.
No.
let's get a raffle ticket. Oh, she can't quit.
I even went by Dollar General and bought me some
And everybody got a raffle ticket now?
Hell on wheels.
It doesn't matter, just give us one, two.
Okay, so raffle prizes we have two fire extinguishers. We have a 2-week complimentary membership to Health Club. We have a $20 gift card to the Round Table Restaurant. And we have a set of owl tea towels. So. Sheriff? Yeah. Draw number.
Uh-oh,
Pick one.
somebody's gonna be mad at me now.
Enjoy the crowd, right?
There you go.
Thank you. The winning number is 806-7012. Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Sheriff.
We'll draw another one since we have 5.
Okay.
And we'll let,
Your name,
and we'll
write your name on
let,
the ticket.
okay. Oh, what did you write your name on the ticket?
Are you okay with me drawing? Dan, you want to draw one?
Sure, I can draw.
All right, draw one.
No, not that one.
I gotta get the tags out.
Which one did you want? And the second winner ends in 7021. 7021? To be. Okay, I'll try another one.
Thank you. Oh, I think so.
And let's try 7010.
See, you leave early.
7010. No? No. Okay.
Since you were the one that handed the tickets out, why don't you?
Oh, he's good.
My hands don't work.
Okay, let's try this one. 6967. There we go.
We had problems with this last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I think a few people left.
Be patient.
Thank you. Choice, there's the round table gift card or the health club, yeah. And what was your name? Oh, okay. You're Linda's husband.
Here, you have a tea towel.
Okay. All right, next we have our watch calendar report. John Panofsky's going to give us an update on that. We also have a handout here in case you didn't pick one up when you came in.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, first thing I'd like to do is welcome anybody here who's new. So we have any new people here tonight, you don't have to get up and say anything. We just like to welcome our new folks. And Mark, we want to tell you thank you too for showing up.
Yes.
And as far as our meetings, normally we just have one guest speaker. And tonight we had 2, so what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can get going, kind of speed things up a little bit, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. The crime reports are up here from the Belleville side of the neighborhood, and we also have the reports that we get from the Sheriff's Department. But those of you in the township, you're paying a little bit of money to have the sheriff come out and to have extra patrols in the township. So then we talked to the sheriff about reporting us. So we got this information here. It's to anybody can have this information, but that's the first time that they've done that for us, is actually report to us what they've actually seen and are doing in our neighborhood. That was one thing that Mark was talking about that they approved. And also the sheriff, I told these guys at the meeting, I said, when you go to the sheriff's department and you try to negotiate this contract again, they're gonna raise the price out of sight. We won't be able to afford this anymore. Well, that didn't happen, did it, Mark?
No.
The sheriff said, just keep it where it was, we'll just keep on going. And they became flexible with us, and so we're very happy to have Mark and the sheriff's department open up a channel of communication that wasn't there before. So that benefits everybody. That's about all I got to say, and we also have these vacation requests for the county and for the city. If you guys live in the city or the county, if you go out of town, you fill one of these out, you get this to the police station, they'll come by and check your homes while you're on vacation. And I really like these things. They work. I use them all the time. And I pass them out to my neighbors. When I know that they're leaving town, I said, fill one of these out and have the police come by. Because it's good for me too when the police come to my neighbor's house. That also helps me. You know, so that's why I do that. I pass them out. I've had neighbors come to my house and ask if I got any more of them. And I keep a stack of them at home. I said, here, fill it out and have the police come by. I like that idea. So the information here is for crime. I will open this up just for questions and answers real quick. Does anybody got anything that's really bugging the heck out of them and you want to talk about?
Just real quick. So sometimes you may get a little ticket from the sheriff department saying, hey, we found your car unlocked or this or that. You know, again, during those shifts when they're in the township patrolling with that, that's some of the things they're supposed to be doing. That if they see a car unlocked or they've occasionally found a home unlocked or a garage door, they leave a little thing just say, hey, we saw this is, you know, a potential for crime, please correct it. So please don't find that offensive. You know, they're doing that to help and prevent crime. And they put that in the report sometimes as well, that, hey, we did this many of that to let us know that they're not just sitting in a car somewhere, they're actually getting out, doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I've actually seen them do that to my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
So unless anybody doesn't have anything else, I'll go ahead and sit down and we'll keep that one question. You got a question?
Yeah, there's a picture of a gentleman here.
Yes.
I assume that's what we were talking about earlier. He
Yeah.
walks the streets and punches cars.
Well, the police can't talk about it, but we can. Mr. Coleman's in jail right now.
Okay,
It's an
because-
open investigation right now, so they can't discuss it.
Yeah.
We can tell you what we know.
He's definitely been an issue up on Warner and Briarwood in that area. And he doesn't care who he walks in the street, you try to go around him, he kicks your car, punches it. And that's true.
Yeah. And he visits all the neighborhoods in this area.
Okay.
He's doing it in Oak Hill and in,
Dorchester
This is
Village.
county.
yeah, he gets around. And the police were familiar with him, and he's been in and out of prison a few times, and he's got a pretty long record.
Right.
But I don't know if jail's a place where he should be.
No, it's
You know,
fairly obvious.
yeah.
He
More
has,
help is.
he has a court appearance scheduled on Friday, this coming Friday, not tomorrow, next week, to review his bond. Hopefully they won't lower it. He's still in custody today. And then the following Friday, he has a mental fitness hearing. Those are the two items that are on the docket for that gentleman.
And apparently, there's other issues too. He's self-medicated.
Yeah, he's not.
Yes, sir.
This is a vacation.
That's for the county sheriff department, this is for Bellows.
Oh, I better have that.
There you go.
Where's Mr. Holmes? I know. I think his mother supposedly owns that house. I don't know how